us with some wonderful music, some very interesting stories, and whatever else strikes him. Rob, welcome back. Great to see you, man.
Thanks. Great to see you all. Big thrill to be here again.
And as you know, because you've been here before, I'd like to just jump in and play a song. Whatever you'd like to play, we'd love to hear.
Okay, yeah. I think the last time I was here was with British songwriter and author Steve Bonham.
That's right.
Don't remember the year, but yeah, so jump in on a song here. Is that what we were saying?
Yeah, Kirk's cracking the whip now. Yeah.
And I hope you don't mind, but I saw Kirk was wearing a hat, and I picked this one up off the shelf over here and threw it on.
Hats are appropriate. We are past the hat.
That's why they're there.
Well, this is actually from the first chapter in the book, by the way, and it's primarily about the 1940 Ford Coupe, which was a very popular car for people to take their families to church, and
Amongst
also
other things.
Also for running moonshine, and you could get up to 200 gallons of hooch, corn, white lightning in there, they say, and some of the great legends of North Carolina were found to be driving that car.
They did special stuff to those engines, too, I'll bet you.
Engines and suspensions.
They did, and one of the most interesting things about it that I learned from Bill Blair Jr., whose father was a moonshiner and a NASCAR winner. They used to put lights on the back bumper, and when they go flying down these dusty roads with the law on their tail at night, they just flip a switch and start blinding.
Oh, it's like they're driving in fog now.
Yeah, and didn't sit real well with the revenuers, and so the revenuers were using a thing called the wampus, and it had these spikes in it, and they would throw it out in front of the moonshiners and tear up their cars. So they had an informal agreement eventually that they wouldn't use the wampus if they stopped using the lights.
Fair.
And but there's just some wonderful stories about that, throughout our state, of course, and the whole Southeast. But this is called 40 Ford Coupe. I got a 40 Ford Coupe running all night, taking the back road, stay out of sight. 99 gallons coming from a creekside still. The law says they'll catch me, but I don't think they ever will. I got a flathead 8, 4 on the floor, coming down the mountain, bringing some more. 99 gallons coming from my daddy still. The law says they'll catch me, but I don't think they ever will. I don't think they ever will. I saw Willie Clay call Junior 2, riding with the devil, chasing the moon. The law says they'll catch him, but I don't think they ever will. While they're running fresh corn in East Carolina hills. The law says they'll catch him, but I don't think they ever will. I don't think they ever will. I got a 40 Ford Coupe running all night, taking the back road, staying alive. The law says they'll catch me, but I don't think they ever will. While I'm running fresh corn in these Wilkes County hills. The law says they'll catch me, but I don't think they ever will. I know that they never will.
Rob McHale, and that's just a little taste, everybody, of what we're going to be entertained by over the next hour. And Rob, you alluded to the book, and I'm going to hold the book up in front of the camera, and maybe you can tell us a little bit more.
Well, thank you, Kirk. It's called, as you can see, Outlaws, Pirates, and Other Adventurers. And it covers some of the most popular outlaws and pirates and adventurers. Goes back as far as the pirate Anne Bonny and some of the people of that period, and also some North Carolina history in the book. I was able to go all over and research on site, so I went to Ireland to research that, and Montana for Custer and so forth, and Kansas and Missouri. And,
Nice.
And for the on-site research, and then academically, of course, I had to really do a deep dive to get the information together. So that's that. And interestingly enough, I wrote songs about all of those chapters in the book.
Oh, perfect.
And the lyrics are at the back of each chapter, and that just is a coincidence, that
Just
that
happened to
actually
come through
just
that way.
happened to happen, and
So-
had an extra page or two in the book, so I put them in there.
Might as well put lyrics in there.
Yeah.
So how can people get this book?
Well, at the moment, it's available on Amazon,
Perfect.
and also
Easy.
if you're in Hickory, North Carolina, it's available at Outdoor Supply Company. They're an outdoor, similar to other large box stores, but it's independently owned by Charlie Mogray, and they sell kayaks and provisions for people that go out and hike and fish and
Yeah,
so forth.
yeah.
And also at Black Hawk Hardware, which is a regionally famous hardware store in Charlotte at Park Road Shopping Center.
Cool. Or they can probably catch you anytime you're out playing music.
Yeah, they can catch me if they can catch me. I'm usually fairly sedentary if I'm playing, and they could stop by after the show and pick one up.
Pick one up, get it signed.
And sorry,
Pick one up and get it signed.
they could, and at and at the coming events as well this month. That's very
So
likely.
everybody, you can find those on Rob McHale, MCHALE.com.
Yes, thank you. Thanks.
And you have a show coming up in the next week or so. Up
I
where?
do. I just so I'm playing a few things this month, and then I'm going to go out and do some research for the next book out in the Southwest, New Mexico, and so
Nice.
forth. But so the next gig would be on the 19th at the Festival in the Park in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'll be on the Charlotte Folk Society stage there at 6 o'clock.
Excellent.
And then the next day at Whippoorwill Village in Ferguson, North Carolina, in the heart of Tom Dooley country, at the Daniel Boone and Scots in the Valley Festival. I'll be playing a set there and then also doing a book signing. And then I'll be at the Iredell Author Fair on the 27th of September in Statesville.
Nice. You're staying good and busy.
Most people up here have to look at their calendars. Rob knew those.
He's got it right there in his head.
Right there.
Well, that's just 3, so.
Everybody, you do want to chase Rob around the state and the country, and because he is, among other things, the IMEA Folk Artist of the Year in the year 2019, and had a number of songs recognized back then by that organization. But you don't need to do any of that because Rob is here to share another song with us right about now.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you. Thanks. Well, quite a while ago, probably around 1697, a young girl was born in Kinsale County, Cork, and she was the product of her father and his mistress, and they ended up having to relocate because that just didn't go over well locally. And they went to London initially, and then they moved down to what is now Charleston, South Carolina. It was Charlestown in the Carolina province. And this young girl grew up to be quite a beauty and rebellious to an extent, but her father became a very successful merchant, and she spent time down on the coast. She liked to watch the ships come in. And then socially, she liked to mingle a little bit with some of the vendors and the pirates in the ports, and ended up running off with a young man named James Bonney. And they ended up moving out to Nassau, which was a pirate haven. She grew a little weary of him as he turned informant and ended up running off with a guy, Calico Jack, who had deposed the famous pirate Charles Vane and taken over for his first role as captain.
Mm-hmm.
So they eloped on a ship and had a great time pirating, picked up Mary Read along the way somewhere, and were eventually captured down off of Point Negril in Jamaica and taken down to Spanish Town, which was the headquarters of Jamaica at the time, the capital, and just north of Kingston. And they tried everyone and sentenced them all to hang. And Mary Read and Anne Bonney, as they say, pled the belly. So they were pregnant.
Oh, we're pregnant. You can't hang us.
And so they couldn't hang them until afterwards. So Mary Read died prematurely of some illness. They don't know exactly what it was, but died in prison before she gave birth. And there's no record of Anne Bonney anywhere. The legend says that her father, who was very well connected with business people in Jamaica,
And had a little bit of money.
may have paid somebody off and had her slipped out, where she came back here to the Carolinas and married a guy named Burley and had 8 children and lived in the Tidewater area of Virginia. So I actually planned a trip up there, and she was supposedly laid to rest in an area called Sweet Haven. And as I got together for my trip, I learned that cemetery had been paved over with a highway of some sort.
Oh.
So I don't think that's going to happen. But this is a love song about the most beautiful pirate to sail our seas. I once met a girl at a port in Carolina who said she was a pirate, not a privateer. So I raised up my glass and I gave her a toast to the prettiest girl on this mid-Atlantic coast. And Bonnie was her name, a pirate of the sea. She could stand with any man, slay who she pleased. If you stare her in the eyes, off the side you'll go, way down low to swim with Davy Jones. We'll sing yo-ho, another round of rum, raise up your glass to our good pirate lass. Yo-ho, another round of rum, raise up your glass to our good Irish lass. And Bonnie was her name, my good pirate queen. She could take any ship at just 23. If they ever catch us, I know I will swing, but I'd fight 100 men to save my pirate queen. I'd fight 1,000 men to save my Irish queen. I once met a girl at a port in Carolina. She was a pirate, not a privateer.
Rob McHale, live here on Pass the Hat.
Rob, before the show we were talking about that beautiful guitar. Tell us, what do you have there?
Well, I was so fortunate to be able to support North Carolina craftsmen. Locally here in this same town that we're in now, in Hillsborough, North Carolina, resides the world-famous pre-war guitar company. And I was able to go by there and recently have them put a pickup in it. I guess it was last winter, so that I can go out and actually take this in public and
Turn it
plug
up
it
to
in,
11.
as well. But yeah, just a great, JD and Ben, Wes and Matt, all great guys over there, and I'll be seeing them again soon for another. But they make these wonderful, absolutely impeccable craftsmanship on them. And one thing I like about them is the stability. You can take them from environment to environment. They just don't really seem to move like a lot of other wooden instruments do.
Mm-hmm.
So.
They're known for being experts at torrefication, and
Yes.
they bake the tops. Bob, you probably know a lot about this, and the idea is to have the wood change as it might being played for decades.
They do. It just brings it to maturity sooner. They use what they call an ultra-thin nitrocellulose finish on it, and that just allows it to open up well in advance of what a traditional finish would take. So it's kind of exciting to see somebody take this craft to the next level, and it's about right now. I believe they say it's about a 2 to 2.5 year wait to have one built, but I would recommend people get their name in the hat as soon as possible, because they don't go down in value, and they're in very high demand.
Yeah,
Great
they're
guitars.
amazing guitars, and get your name on the list if you're interested in a guitar. And occasionally people get bumped up on the list because things happen. Other people fall off. So I've known people who have
Yeah.
gotten their guitar in 6 months rather than the 2.5 years they were expecting.
I just moved up a few months, actually, for the next one, so I
Right.
should be getting it in about a month, I think. But yeah, that things change in people's lives, and they have to, withdraw from the
Yeah.
sequence for one reason or another, and yeah, so good point.
Rob, we've known each other for some time,
Yes.
and talking with my wife Sally about, I think the first time I saw you play was and it could have been 15 years ago, might have been 20. There was a North Carolina Songwriter Co-op event stage at the Duke Homestead over
Yes.
in Durham, and you were there with your brother.
Yes, with my brother Pat on the harmonica.
And were you writing these historical songs back then?
I was.
What got you started down this road?
I don't think there was a real catalyst. I just, for some reason, gravitated towards it, and found that I really enjoyed doing the research on the songs, and they seemed to go over pretty well, so I was encouraged by the general public and friends and other musicians, so I just kept going on with it, and really still enjoy that, and that carried over, into writing a book, and which kind of goes hand in hand, so to speak, with the whole process. So yeah, I just love doing the research on these people.
Well, we love hearing your stories and listening to these wonderful songs, and I believe, Bob, we would love to hear another one.
Many, many more, yes. But
Okay,
specifically one right now. And by the way, Ang Medlin says, "Hey, Rob."
Ange Medlin.
Yes.
Hi, Ange. Wow. I haven't seen Ange in a couple of years.
We need to get Ange back on the show.
Yeah.
It has been a while.
Yes.
She's one of those people that just was born with an immense amount of talent.
Yes.
And has this voice that just fills every nook and cranny in the room, just volumes. Great voice, great songwriter. And yeah, so hats off to Ange. I think if it's okay with you guys, I'll play you a song that is not in the book. I recorded it for an independent movie not long ago. I guess it was last summer. And I wrote it about a guy that was from Mississippi. And he'd be older now, but he was an aspiring guitarist, and he used to follow around some of the great blues people, like Son House and so forth. Mm-hmm. And one day at one of Son House's gigs, he picked up the guitar and started entertaining the audience, and he failed miserably and left, and came back about a year later and went up to Son House and asked if he could redeem himself, and he said sure, just like any journeyman would do to a young up-and-coming musician. So this young guy went on stage and started playing all these songs that he had written in the last year, like I think I'll Dust My Broom, mm-hmm. Sweet Home Chicago.
He had been down to the Crossroads.
Crossroad Blues, yeah. And he brought the house down. He was doing things with the guitar that no one had done yet. He was just way ahead of everyone. And that this legend was born that he must have stopped at the Crossroads on his way out of town and met the devil there. And the devil took his guitar and tuned it up and handed it back to him. And then he said, the deal is done. And that from that day on, this young Robert Johnson was the king of the blues. He traveled all over the United States and recorded 29 songs in Texas. And the legend says that they found him dead on the side of the road with no apparent injuries. And it was the devil that had come to collect his due.
Yep.
When the morning breaks and the sun is rising, it's time to pay. When the morning breaks, gonna be how to pay. When the morning breaks, in Mississippi, I look for the truth. But I met the devil man, nothing left to lose. Oh, I sold my soul, and I left there with the blues. Sell your soul, someday you'll pay. Down at the crossroad, you'll hear him say, gonna be how to pay. When the morning breaks and the sun is rising, it's time to pay. When when the morning breaks. Gonna be how to pay when the morning breaks. When the morning breaks.
Everybody, we are here with Rob McHale. You can learn all about Rob and his adventures, robmchale.com. Rob, we like to talk about songwriting. That's one of the main reasons we're here. And with you, it's different than about anybody else we've had here on the show, in that you're an historian, and you've garnered all this wealth of material and great stories and things like that. And how does one take and mold those into songs which are, they're true to the history, but they have a life of their own aside from that?
Well, what I've found has helped me is to try to just be absorbed in that person, whoever it is. So, for instance, Tom Dooley. I just imagine I'm Tom Dooley, and I imagine what Tom Dooley's going through at a certain time in his life, or Jesse James, or anyone for that matter, and I just assume their life and study them, and then see if anything shows up, But I don't normally sit down and say, I'm going to write a song on Tuesday about Jesse James, but once I start writing it, then I just, become one with that person if I can. And
So these songs kind of have a life of their own, and you're just the vessel for them?
yeah, they just show up, generally, something shows up, maybe a line shows up, and then I just take it from there, and I go, oh, this is supposed to be about Robert Johnson, and then I just kind of work that in. And
Kim, you're a writer and a student of writing, and so is that seems like a very interesting and approach to, you kind of remove your conscious self, and tell us about your thoughts about that sort of approach.
It's hard for a lot of us in our culture to relax, I think. And I interpret that as, when I'm relaxed, then creative ideas are more accessible to me. But when I'm worried about, what do I have to get at the grocery store, where do I have to take my kid, to me that is relaxation. And then my mind can relax and dig in.
I bet the time that you're most relaxed is when you're playing the guitar. And what a perfect time for those things to just appear. You just have to seize the moment and take it.
Yeah.
And I remember, Neil Young once was having a big party on his ranch, and all of a sudden he had this idea for a song, and he split, and went to his favorite hiding place and disappeared for the evening. So I don't know that I would do that, but at this point, but that might be an interesting way to take some time and go with it. And
Well, I guess that drives some of the importance of recognizing when the muse is talking to you and feeling that importance. And it's time. I've got to go get this down.
When I was younger, I'd stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning if it was necessary to burn the thing in. But, now I can just get what I want quickly enough, and then kind of consider a good night's rest as well.
There's a lot to be said for a good night's rest.
So,
Well, Rob, if you get an idea for a song during the show, will you please, not just leave and write it? I mean, just write down the thought.
Well, I noticed you guys bolted the doors before I sat down, so
That's how it works here at Pass the Hat.
Yeah, but thank you. That's a great idea.
Everybody, we do want to draw your attention again to Rob's new book, new as of July of this year, Outlaws, Pirates, and Other Adventures, Rob McHale, available on Amazon and the different places Rob cited. And you can find those places mentioned also on Rob's website, robmchale.com, as we've said. And we have...
He's also got music. You can buy his CDs on his website, too.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
Yes. Then you can stream it as well on all the streaming places that you stream everybody else's.
Do you happen to... I think you sell your CDs directly through your website. Do you also use Bandcamp?
I have a Bandcamp account, but I don't advertise CDs on there, I don't believe.
Okay.
I probably should. I know people.
Only
have.
reason I bring that up is because we do like to remind people when it is Bandcamp Friday, and today is a Bandcamp Friday.
I'll be darned. I guess I'll have to step up on that, and but I know some people have had really good success, with music on Bandcamp.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I just some of the retail outlets and on my website
And robmchale.com.
.com, and in the book, since you mentioned it, it is in the final stages of process with a distributor. So once that happens, it'll be available to bookstores and libraries.
Right.
Although it is with some libraries now, but they'll have a greater resource to get the book. And just stand by. Might be a month before that's available.
Good things will
Excellent.
happen.
Everybody, we have reached the top of the hour exactly, and we are WHUP LP Hillsborough. The show is Pass the Hat. We are here every Friday from 6 to 8 o'clock, bringing you the best in original North Carolina, regional, and beyond music. We have been here for 10 years, and so we have just a tremendous library of shows, the audio from the shows of the last 10 years on WHUPFM.org. The videos, as we're shooting tonight, from the last 5 years or so. And Bob, where can people find those?
You can find them at Whoop Ass the Hat, at WHUP Pass the Hat on your favorite streaming services. And your favorite streaming services are YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch in that order. YouTube keeps them, we like them best because YouTube keeps them forever. So you can watch this one live, as you're hopefully doing right now, and then you can go back and see a wonderful archive of many years of live streams over every Friday that we've been doing the live streams. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch keep those for 2 weeks, so you can watch last week's show in addition to the live one that's happening now. So get out there, check out the live streams; they're fantastic.
If you get snowed in or whatever.
Yeah, you could have a very, very long weekend of doing nothing but watching previous Pass the Hat live streams.
Wow, that sounds great.
We have
Right?
have we had him be a spokesmodel yet?
It's time.
Yes. Okay.
Everybody, we are fortunate to have an Hour 2 sponsor. And Bob, tell us about our friends up the street.
That's right. Support for this second hour of Pass the Hat is sweetly provided by Matthews Chocolates, 104 North Churton Street, Hillsborough, North Carolina, the finest in chocolate and chocolate accessories for all of your chocolate needs. And let's face it,
We all have chocolate needs.
every guest on Pass the Hat gets a gift of chocolate from Matthew. We don't know what's in the box, but we know that it is fantastic. He has now the best latte in town, making his own house-made oat milk as well. So if you're a vegan and you want that vegan latte, he will hook you up. And every holiday is a chocolate holiday, so get over there and buy your chocolate for your next holiday, next birthday, next graduation, next anything. But remember, don't show up and say, I want 400 truffles right now. He might have 400 truffles, but that means nobody else gets any truffles for the next week. If you're going to buy 400 truffles, order in advance.
Yep.
This smells like it was baked this afternoon. Just absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
It probably was, and made with love.
Well, Rob McHale, you teased us with a mention that you have a trip planned to the Southwest.
Yes.
Is it a secret about the nature of this latest adventure?
Well, it's not really a secret. I was going to do some research on Billy the Kid down there and Brushy Bill Roberts because The way it looks, that's actually who Billy the Kid was, and Brushy Bill lived to 1950 and was actually trying to get a pardon just months before he passed away and was not able to obtain that. They say that's what might have pushed him over the edge, but
So when you storm into town, like, what do you do? Where do you go?
well, I'll have to work on that a little bit and maybe try to set something up in advance, see if I can scratch up a historian and start with that. And,
Well, if he lived, you said 1950.
well, that's when he passed away,
Well, so there are people from 1950 still around.
I'll be darned. That's great to hear, and great to see you're here with us, too, Kurt.
But other in the Southwest, maybe there's some people.
Oh, no doubt. They live forever down there.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, shouldn't be a problem. And also the St. James Hotel. Not sure if you're familiar with that, but that's up in Cimarron in northern New Mexico, and that's probably a chapter in itself. But a famous saloon where many of the Jesse James, Doc Holliday, and so forth passed through there on the Santa Fe Trail. They actually had a double layer in the ceiling of the hotel because so many people were shooting guns down there. They didn't want their
Had to
guests.
protect people upstairs.
Yeah, just crazy. And they were 26 people, they say, that were killed there. And it's been featured on a couple of docu-series for being haunted. So the original hotel where you can stay, which I plan to stay in Jesse James' room, number 14, is still haunted, they say. So, or you could, if you're scared of that, you could stay in the new annex.
In 13, which is always a popular number.
Always. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Kim, most people when they go to travel they spend their time in the motel pool. Rob really has a much superior approach to this. This is great stuff.
People do that still?
In the hotel petri dish.
Ew.
Yeah, they do.
They do. Yeah, that's they're always full of people.
Rob, how about some music? What do you say?
Yeah, sounds great. So, we were just talking about Ireland, and if I can just briefly tell you about something that went on back in the late 1700s there. The Irish were rebelling against British rule, and the whole country of Ireland was placed in the hands of Lord Lieutenant Cornwallis. So that was the same guy in 1781 that had surrendered his sword at Yorktown. So he was in charge. That's how they rewarded him, by giving him the whole country. And they had squashed this rebellion in all of the big cities, like Dublin and Wexford, and just a couple of small villages remaining. And one was a small village called Castlebar, and that's up in County Mayo. They had about 300 people in their militia. So the British, under the direction of General Gerard Lake, set up camp there in the hills around Castlebar with 6,000 men and artillery. But there were 2,000 French and Irish soldiers that were trying to come in to their aid, but they couldn't get in. All the passages were blocked either by terrain like peat bogs. There had been horrendous rain for a couple of days, or soldiers, so they just couldn't get in. So on the early misty morning of August 27th, 1798, from the hills outside of Castlebar, the British launched an artillery attack. But out of that mist rose those 2,000 French and Irish soldiers with their swords drawn. And they caught the British with such great surprise, they chased them as far as Athlone, which is on the Shannon River over 70 miles away. And they named this battle after the speed at which the British were retreating and called it the Races of Castlebar, or the Castlebar Races. Let me just make sure I'm in tune here so I don't... want freedom? Will you let it slip away? Will you take a stand with us today? 6,000 men, they are coming from across the cold Irish Sea. They're being paid to take all the land from our kings. Do you want freedom? Can you see the mist in the meadow from the rockets they fire our way on this early morning in August in 1798? We charge from the flank and the forward, swords up to our good Irish sky. With 2,000 friends that had joined us, we caught them all by surprise. Do you want freedom? Have you been to the castle bar races? Did you see them running away? We chased them back to the Shannon with their tails between their legs. Do you want freedom? Will you let it slip away? Will you take a stand with us today? Do you want freedom?
More Rob McHale live here on Pass the Hat.
Rob, do you ever perform in schools or for audiences that are dedicated to studies or interest groups in these? Because I have to imagine that, like, you're not playing bars, I would imagine, with a lot of these songs. You're playing for people who are intentionally listening. So what do your audiences look like?
Well, yeah, I have played bars. I don't play bars, but I have. And there's nothing the matter with them. I just don't particularly enjoy it. But
Yeah.
I do libraries and some historical societies.
Okay.
And,
Yep.
and they're there normally to hear this and hear the stories. So that's probably my main focus lately is doing that. And some venues, be playing in Atlanta, next April at a listening rooms and things like that. So that's a listening setting.
Yeah. And then what got you started on this path? Because so many people come through, probably myself included. How'd you get started songwriting? Well, it often starts in this way. Well, my dad gave me a guitar, or I joined a band, or this girl broke up with me. And for you, again, this very unique vein, how did this path start for you?
Well, I think it was just a lot of pent-up interest in the music and playing the guitar and songwriting, and there was a lot of that came from the 60s.
Yep.
And I was a little young, in the 60s for that, and during my formative years, I was an athlete, and I didn't really have time to pursue the guitar.
Yeah.
So in my very early 20s, I got a guitar at about 18, and then I started writing songs in my early 20s. And then I don't think I started writing good songs until I was probably in my 40s. Of course, I say that, but
Yeah.
they were the ones I wrote before were of a slightly different vein, and it may have been more electric oriented. No screaming, but just maybe had more of an electric foundation. So
Sure, and probably a little bit more emotive,
could have been.
but more so than
Yeah.
historical songs. And I was thinking as you were going through that line of questioning, Kim Lane, about audiences and really needing a listening room,
Yeah.
and folks being really engaged in the subject matter here. Do you ever have people come up to you after a song or after a show or after a song and say, you know what, that line about such and such is wrong?
That's nice.
I don't think so. I can't remember. I think one of the most interesting things I had happen was after a concert in Charlotte at the Great Aunt Stella Center, and I played the song Jesse James, The Ghost of Jesse James, and a fellow came up and showed me his driver's license, and he was a descendant of Jesse James, and,
How about that?
and had no idea he was going to hear that song. So things like that are really enlightening.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, is that your audience will often be full of either amateur or professional or both historians who have in-depth knowledge of what you're singing about.
And I've had professors come up that didn't know about certain things I was speaking about in history as well.
Right.
So it's great. You get to meet a lot of wonderful people and some brilliant people. People that are highly educated, and it's just a real thrill for me to go out and communicate with people in that way. So.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm taking from this, is that a certain level, some music is meeting people emotionally. I'm in love with this person, I'm singing about that. Oh, I've been in love, I can relate to that. And a lot of your songs are meeting people intellectually rather than emotionally. It's a different way of connecting. But
And I know it's hard to believe,
it's
but
valid.
yeah, sometimes even during a set, I might even throw a love song in sometimes just to let people know that I'm capable.
You do have feelings sometimes.
That I'm not strictly by the book, but yeah, it's really been wonderful, and some of the communities that I've been able to engage have been really, really generous with their time and so forth. So it's been a great path, and I hope to stay on it, as well. And in Europe, they love all of this
Oh, yeah.
history. The Tom Dooley legend, for instance, everybody's familiar with it, and Woody Guthrie. I've had people show up wearing Woody Guthrie T-shirts and so forth. So,
Nice.
so that's kind of a benefit on the side for me that has probably helped get me in a few places that I wouldn't have otherwise.
Well, I'm very much enjoying this music so far. Have you got another one you can play for us?
I probably have one in the bag some here.
I figured you might.
I can do something. How about, since we were talking about Jesse James, I can just slip in a song about his first train robbery, and I don't know why. They waited about 7 years after their career started to tackle this first train robbery, and I don't know if it was because they were timid about it or if they were concerned. There was some train robbers called the Reno Brothers or the Reno Gang, and they met a tragic end eventually. So I don't know if that bothered them. The Reno Gang was eventually ended with vigilante justice, and so I don't know if any. Eventually, they went up to Adair, Iowa, and they set up just outside of town on this railway and on the Rock Island line. And their idea was to pull a rope off this track and hope that the engineer would come around this turn and slam on the brakes, but they didn't really understand momentum. So unfortunately, this train crashed and killed the engineer, and they went and robbed the safe. It had about $2,000 in it. Now, they were expecting a large shipment of gold, which actually came on the next train.
Oops.
And they politely robbed the passengers of about $1,000 and then went on their merry way. But they say today, if you go to Adair, Iowa, there's a section of that track still there. And they say that if the sun is just right, you can see the ghost of Jesse James standing there waiting on the next train. I'm standing here fighting with the hot Midwestern sun, waiting on a train to finally come. My brother Frank is in the shade talking to the boys about robbing our first train and keeping down the noise. They're bringing all the gold from Cheyenne. We brought 7 men to take it off their hand. If everything goes well, we don't all end up in hell. There'll be half a ton of gold for every man. A rope to pull the rail, make a 4-foot gap so the engineer could see the hole, stop it on the tracks. He didn't see the hole in time, crashed it on its side, killed that driver dead as nails, sadly I was surprised. They're bringing all the gold from Cheyenne. We brought 7 men to take it off their hands. I'm standing here fighting with the hot Midwestern sun, waiting on a train to finally come. My brother Frank is in the shade talking to the boys. I've been standing here since I got shot by that coward Ford. They're bringing all the gold from Cheyenne. We brought 7 men to take it off their hands. If everything goes well, we don't all end up in hell. There'll be half a ton of gold for every man. I'm standing here fighting with the hot Midwestern sun, waiting on a train to finally come. Waiting on a train to finally come.
McHale, live here on Pass the Hat, reminding folks that even if you are an outlaw, bank robber, wannabe train robber, logistics is super important.
It really is. Those guys unbelievably got around. They were all over the place. And think about, a horse the towns used to be arranged up north about 30 miles apart, and that was a day's ride. So, like from Nashville to Kansas City is about 500 miles. So these people did things like that. They'd go to Texas, Kentucky, and all over on a horse. So, and
Yeah.
we think about that now, and in the convenience of our car, is we're
Yeah, the world's gotten a whole lot smaller. But I'm just curious what the conversation was like around the campfire after that robbery, and whose job they thought it was to know which train to rob.
Yeah, could be, and they might have just been saying something simply as, great job cooking that rabbit, Jesse.
Yeah, also that, or catching the rabbit.
So, yeah, that's probably pretty relaxing, once they got settled. But, often they were pursued heavily by posses. And,
Sure.
And after that Northfield disaster they had in Minnesota, where the younger brothers were actually finally caught and served time. But, Jesse and Frank escaped, but they were pursued vigorously. They say up to 1,000 men were chasing them. So pretty wild.
1,000 men looking for a payoff too, because there were prices on their heads.
Yeah. By then there was, yeah. Pretty crazy.
Rob McHale, the time has passed much too quickly. It's been one of the more interesting shows I think we've ever had here this evening. We have time for one more bit of storytelling and music, and so whatever you'd like to play, that would be great.
Okay. Well, that sounds pretty good. And again, thank you so much for having me, and great to see you, Kim, and
Thank you.
Bob and Kirk. Thanks so much for doing this for the community. Not just the listeners, but the artists really enjoy coming here. So from all of them, and me included, thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't know about Kirk and Kim, but I really just do it for my own personal pleasure. But these guys might do
Well,
it for
I'm
the
sure
community.
I'm doing it for the money.
Yep. The
They just
big
want to
payout.
hang around with you, and that would be my guess. Well, how about if I play a song from my album "Prophets on the Boulevard," and that's kind of has a nice message to go out on.
And a reminder that you can get that album
But I spent
at
many
robmchale.com.
times, many nights in Boston, and I like to go out on the Boston Common. And you never know who you're going to run into there. It could be a businessman or someone less fortunate, or perhaps a soldier or a student. But whoever it is, while you're there, they all seem to drop these social pretenses that we've all developed over the years, and they're just people like the rest of us. So this is a song called Common Ground, and thank you again. Great to see you guys.
Thank you.
Early in the morning, oh, in Boston town, I was out walking on common ground. Oh, I walked with a doctor, sat with a bum, prayed with a sailor who was on the run. Oh, I started on Tremont and I made my way around. We had all been standing on common ground. Early in the morning, oh, in Boston town, I was out walking on common ground. Oh, I walked with a big shot, sat with a nun, talked to a student who was there for fun.
Oh, dear live stream watcher, listener, enjoyer, the time has come where we're going to end the live stream. The broadcast does not end. We go on for another 30 minutes, and we're going to be playing music from a playlist that Rob McHale brought in for us, music specially for you, and he's going to provide intros and outros. But the live stream's going to end. So you need to flip over to WHUPFM.org or FM 104.7 here in the footprint of Hillsborough. But for now, Rob is going to wave goodbye, and we will say goodbye to y'all until next week.
Now is the time we dance. Do you remember that old skit, Sprocket?
Now we dance!
Now we dance!
Okay, we're done with those people.